Hi everyone, thanks for making today's meeting. I brought everyone together today because it's almost that time of year, the dreaded annual expenditure and revenue budget review, as well as our team performance planning and development meeting. I've had generally excellent feedback from the department managers about all of your work, but there are a few things that have come to my attention over the last few months. So I'd like to bring these up so we can discuss it as a team. Two things we'll be discussing today are the invoices and the budget. Then we'll move on to the team performance planning, followed by one-on-ones later in the week. First, I'd like to discuss our invoicing system and any potential issues there. We have had complaints from suppliers that invoices haven't been paid on time. This is becoming a major issue for us because some of the suppliers are refusing to supply products or services unless we pay them in advance. Unfortunately, this doesn't align with our financial management strategies, and the CEO is not impressed. The CEO has taken the time to email me and ask if there's a greater issue here or what support they can offer to get us back on track. So I'd like to discuss this to come up with some solutions so I can go back to them. The other topic is the revenue and expenditure budgets. I understand this is a big job and requires a fair amount of patience and skill to extract the data. Unfortunately, there seems to have been a communication breakdown between the department managers and our department. From what I understand, there are a few department managers that don't want to sign off on the recent budget prep, and I'd like to get to the bottom of this and hear your thoughts on what we can do to improve. Once we've tackled those topics, we'll move on to our performance planning and development, which ties in quite nicely with some of the complaints being made about our department. I'd like your input on this, so I've set us some goals using the SMART format, but I'd like us to discuss these a bit further and allocate roles and responsibilities, ensuring we're efficient, cost-effective, and outcome-focused. After this, we'll be having one-on-one performance and development meetings. So we've had some complaints from some of our suppliers that invoices aren't being paid on time. We use a specialised financial management software to help with this process. But Jill, this is your department. So could you just run through why we're missing invoices or any problems you're having in your department?
Yeah, sure. So my role is to pay suppliers and credit invoices. I've also been helping with the budget preparation. So I'm the one in the department that pays the suppliers and the creditors. If I have any time off, the invoices can't be processed. If I have any time off, the invoices can't be processed until I return. When this happens, there can be backlog, which takes me a lot longer than usual to complete. So then Warren is responsible for customer service inputs and payments, which he's very good at and always gets done in the 2-week time frame, but he hasn't been taught yet how to pay the suppliers and creditors. So I know the software like the back of my hand because I've been doing this a long time, but paying the suppliers and creditors is very different to the customers and requires more knowledge than the software. I think the main issue here is that only one of us is in the department that can pay the suppliers. So if Warren and Sandra were to learn how to do this, then if I'm either sick or on leave, they could step in and make sure that they're paid on time.
Yeah, I agree. There's a free tutorial online that the software company has supplied, but I haven't gotten around to completing it yet. I'd be more than happy to, because I'd love the opportunity to step up and take on a bit more responsibility. Then the pressure would be taken off Jill, and she can spend a bit more time on the budget preparation.
All right, that sounds great. So once this training is complete, what will need to happen?
I'll need to give the authority to process payments, which can be given by you or Sandra.
Excellent. So we'll look into allocating time for this course and some on-the-job training as well. It sounds like everyone could use a little extra help navigating the software. Sandra, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, it's a great idea. I'd like to complete the course too. It's been a while since I did any invoicing, so a refresher would be good.
Right, Sandra, would you like to explain why you think we've been having some trouble with the budget this year? It seems there may have been a bit of a communication breakdown between yourself and a few of the department managers. They've suggested that the process is not consultative enough and the knowledge they have of their own department could be valuable to the making of budgetary decisions.
Yeah, sure. So I work closely with the department managers, but they only think of their own departments and don't seem to understand that we budget for everyone. So they all give me their expenditure forecasts and revenue targets, but they're unreasonable and don't make sense. So each department thinks that they need the most money, but it just doesn't add up. I've analysed the data and what they're asking is too much. They can't see where I'm coming from, and I've had to make decisions based on analysis, and unfortunately, they don't like the answers. Now they don't even respond to my emails and are refusing to sign off on the budget that I've prepared.
All right. Jill or Warren, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I've found that the department managers are coming to me a lot more now, but I don't have any experience in analysing financial data, so I'm finding it difficult to communicate our side of the story for them.
All right. Do you think this could be fixed with more open communication and negotiation? Coming to a budgetary decision that keeps all parties happy tends to require strong communication and negotiation skills. I think we all might be due for a few refresher workshops, so we could make this a priority.
I'm happy to do some workshops if you think they'll help. You just better get those department managers to do them too. They're the ones not talking to me.
Of course. These courses are for everyone, and it doesn't help to brush up on some educational skills. So taking everything we've just discussed into consideration, I'd like to walk you through some goals I thought we could all work towards, and then together we can brainstorm some suitable work allocations and performance standards. So as you can see on your handouts, I've set 5 goals for the next few months. Invoices will be paid the week they are received. All staff will have an in-depth knowledge of the financial management system software system within 3 months. Team members will undergo training for upskilling within 6 months. Budgetary decisions will be agreed upon by all parties by next budget cycle, and communication amongst departments will improve within 3 months. These goals have been decided on using the SMART formula, meaning they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time-bound. I believe with a bit of hard work, we can really achieve these goals by the next budget. So it's highly important that all the invoices are paid on time. The suppliers that are complaining want us to pay them in advance in future if we can't get on top of this. Our current financial model doesn't allow for this, and I agree. I think we're capable enough to pay invoices on time. I was unaware that Jill was the only one with the knowledge to do this, so I'd like to see this changed. I'd also like to see systems in place for when Jill's away. Invoices should be paid the week they're received, so what do each of us need to do to achieve our invoicing goal? Is this goal achievable? This will be part of your work allocation for the next few months.
I need a bit more in-depth knowledge of the accounting software, and I also need to complete the online course for paying suppliers and creditors. I have a good understanding of how to pay the customers, so it shouldn't be too much of a jump. Just to make sure though, I'd like to shadow Jill for a bit at first until I feel confident.
Right, so I'll spend some time with Warren showing him the software and introduce him to the type of work. I can oversee anything he does until he's confident enough to pay them on his own. He does such a good job with the customers' invoices, so I don't think he'll have any trouble paying the suppliers. And paying invoices the week they're received would be great. It means our documentation will be more organised as well. So once everyone has been trained up, paying invoices on time will be a breeze.
Yeah, I'll do the course as well to refresh my knowledge, and if Jill's away, I'll be able to step in and cover for her. So do we have a written procedure anywhere in the Common Drive? Because I know we do have procedures for a lot of other tasks, and how much easier it makes things when you have to do when you have a document to follow.
I think we do have one, but it's very outdated. It's for our old system, so I'd be happy to write up a new one for the current software. So if I'm ever away, anyone could jump in and know how to do it.
Alright, so we'll put all this on a work allocation and get these new systems started as soon as possible. Now there's an expectation you can all work autonomously and complete self-motivated learning tasks without me having to chase you up. You know my door is always open for a chat and any questions you might have, but if we are still receiving the same number of complaints within 3 months, we'll have to revisit this and have a closer look to see what the problem might be. Jill, I'll be expecting you to take the lead on this, as you'll still be the number 1 regarding invoice payment. We'll just put that on the work allocation as well. And Warren, I'm keen for you to step up and take on this additional work. Just remember to keep up the same good work you've been doing with the customer payments. Performance indicators for this will be fewer complaints from suppliers and increased productivity. Jill, your performance will be based off Warren's ability to pay supplier invoices. I'd like to see invoices paid weekly and much fewer complaints from suppliers.
Not a problem. I look forward to taking on these new tasks.
And in the same vein as invoicing, one of the goals I set is I'd like everyone to have a more in-depth knowledge of the software. I was looking into getting someone from the software company to come out and run a half-day course in work hours. Once I've got that organised, I'll let you know so you can block a morning out in your calendars. I'll make sure the software user guide is easily accessible on the Common Drive as well, so you can look up solutions to any of your questions. So Sandra, how are you going with the quarterly reports?
I'm doing okay. It's part of my usual weekly tasks, so I'll assume this will stay the same. I don't feel as confident in my analysis as I would like to, so over the next few months I'd like to spend more time learning how to analyse financial data, just so I can give a better recommendation to the CEO. And I don't feel confident in my recommendations at the moment, but really feel I have the potential to excel. If you have some time, maybe you could give me some pointers?
Yeah, excellent, Sandra. Thanks for sharing that. I'm proud of you for letting us know where you might need a bit more help. I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and spend some time on financial analysis. Jill, you mentioned before that you don't have much experience in this either. Would you like to sit in when we do this?
Yes, please. I'd love this added to my work allocation.
Consider it done. Financial analysis requires an in-depth knowledge of all the departments and their specific needs, so there'll be an element of self-motivated learning to this, and the expectation you'll both take the time to get to know the ins and outs of all the departments. Let's block out some time in your plans to sit down with the department managers to discuss this further. Sandra, I'd love to talk to you more about me taking on more of a mentor role for you. This would really help you along with any career goals you might have and really give you an insight into the business. The next 6 months are going to be important for upskilling for all of you. I can really see the drive you all have individually. Simco love giving the opportunity to upskill and take on more challenges within the organisation. So if this is something you're interested in, when we have our one-on-one meetings, I'd like to chat more to all of you about your career goals and aspirations. Over the next few days, have a think about that and what I can do to support you in reaching these goals. I guess going off what we've spoken about so far, Sandra, I'd be getting you to focus on financial analysis and reporting. And Jill, if we can get you learning the basics, that would be a good start too. And Warren will get you paying supplier invoices, then we can all take it from there. Looking at the budget now, Sandra and Jill, you both work pretty closely on this. Can you both put on your plans, prepare annual revenue and expenditure budgets? Taking into consideration the feedback we've had from some of the department managers, if you both manage to get a handle on the financial analysis side of things, we should see a decrease in complaints, and by the time the next budget comes around, an increase of your departmental knowledge. I'll be using this as a performance measure, so we'll sit down and see where both of your understanding is at currently, and by the next cycle, all parties should be able to agree on the budget forecasts. Now, one of the goals I've set for us is that our communication with the other departments will improve within 3 months. Are there any particular problems you can think of?
I think there's a communication breakdown because a lot of these conversations are happening over email, and it's hard to understand the tone people are speaking in when it's written. Maybe we could do a specific workshop on email etiquette.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great point. Tone in email is so important. I'll make sure to highlight that when I'm looking up communications training. So, how do you go about resolving these miscommunications currently? Have you thought about setting up face-to-face meetings?
It generally ends in a fight online and doesn't really get resolved. So sometimes the other departments take days to respond, and I need the answers now, so I have to make decisions myself. It's not my fault if they don't like the result. They should answer my emails and listen to what I have to say. So as for face-to-face meetings, good luck. I don't want to talk to them just as much as they don't want to talk to me.
Right. Sounds to me like we might need some conflict resolution training as well. It's important to be able to communicate with others, but to also resolve conflict as it arises without having to escalate it to management. We're all one team trying to achieve the same common goals, so it's important to keep that in mind. I'll look into some communication, negotiation and conflict resolution workshops and get this happening over the next month or so. This should help with our budget goals and interdepartmental communication. It's good to stay up to date with these soft skills so if you don't use them all the time, you can get rusty. So just to recap, we should all have the following on our work allocation plans. Learn how to use all aspects of financial management software, complete negotiation training, as well as communication and conflict resolution training. Jill and Sandra, you should also have analysed financial data for monthly and quarterly finance reports, communicate openly and clearly with department managers, work alongside each other and share knowledge to prepare annual revenue and expenditure budgets, and thoroughly understand all departments and their needs. Sandra, you should also have complete free online course for paying creditors and suppliers and gain more in-depth knowledge of financial reporting. Jill, additionally to your work allocation, I'd like to see right invoice payment procedure, work closely with Warren and teach him how to pay creditors and suppliers, and continue to pay invoices and usual tasks. And Warren, you should have that you want to complete the free online course for paying creditors and suppliers, begin paying creditors and suppliers, and continue paying customers and all your usual tasks as well. So if everyone's in agreement, just please sign the bottom of this work allocation plan. And yeah, thanks everyone for coming. We'll organise some times to sit down and complete an individual plan over the next few days. So please think of any questions you might have or anything you'd like to know more about, and we can discuss it in detail then. So thanks so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.